Hi Capricorn, it's Power and Light, and this is Dee Fernandez, your tarot reader, your psychic, and your astrologer. Let's get into it. And your past life regression practitioner. Yeah, very cool. So let's see what we have for you guys, and I hope you guys are well on this summer day, Capricorn, wherever you are, right? At least it's summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. I don't know, in the Dominican Republic and, I don't know, around the world. No, not really sure, but let's get into this here. And we're going to start with these cards here for Capricorn, please. And we have physical pain. OMG. So physical pain, they're showing a broken heart. And we know because there's like a sword through it and these thorns are around it. Somebody, physical, I mean, it could have gotten to, altercation or fell or sports injury. But, more than likely this is about heartache, which is, it's physical, right? It's emotional, but it's still, it can have you really down and preventing different things. It's still physical, and they're both, right? Yeah, it's both really. And this is a 29, it's an 11, which is a 2, which is about two people or a choice. And we have message to pass on, Capricorn, and we have freedom. All right, freedom. And so the message to pass on is usually, one of communication usually, but this is a major recognition that somebody wants to share with you, most likely, or you may want to share it with them. The freedom card, maybe it is about somebody's freedom. Yeah, it's really interesting, right? And freedom's interesting when we talk about divination and intuition and things like that, right? Insight. Freedom can be, it doesn't always have to be physical. It can be emotional freedom, where you're doing whatever you want, you're doing what you want in your life, or things are working for you, or maybe you're closing out chapters that maybe they're physical and maybe they're just in your head or in your heart. And so this is freedom, right? So let's see what else we have. And we're using the Lover's Path deck today. Yeah, we are. Let's see what we have for Capricorn. And we have the Six of Coins. There she is. And he's putting the big golden coin down for her. And we have Persephone, right? Which is such a cool name. And this is transformation. Persephone and Pluto. So there she was in the back. Persephone, the Greek lady, right? And then Pluto's here. And he is wearing his crown here. Very interesting. And he's holding some type of fruit or something like that. Let's look at the Six of Coins first and have a look and see what they have to say about that one. Yeah. This is the Six of Pentacles, right? And this is generosity, helping others, charity, and fortune. Okay, somebody may want to help you, Capricorn, or just, it doesn't have to be a physical help. Like, hey, I'm going to bring you this this rescue, not rescue basket, but kind of a wellness basket, or or food, or money. It doesn't always have to be like that. It can be just want to help you, like support you in your life, emotionally, things like that. And this is appreciation, trusting in the prosperity of the universe, helping others who are less fortunate. Okay, so it can be either, right? Yeah. And let's see about transformation, right? Forming a change. That's what that really means, right? The formation of profound change. Literally, that's what that means. And we'll look at transformation. And this is the Death card, of course. And we have changes, endings, beginnings, of course, right? And Demeter, or Demeter, I feel like it's Demeter, but goddess of the harvest, had a daughter named Persephone, whom she treasured more than the earth. When Persephone was abducted by Pluto, god of the underworld, Demeter cursed the soil to be barren until Zeus finally agreed to reunite Persephone with her mother, but only if she had not eaten while in the underworld, because of the cleansing, right? Wow. Persephone had eaten 6 seeds of a pomegranate. Okay, Persephone, stop overeating, right? Yeah. Thus, a compromise was reached. Each year, Persephone would live 6 months in the underworld and 6 months on Earth. Wow. So, there's some type of what's going on here is with the story of Pluto and Persephone and her mother, Demeter, right? Yeah. What's going on here is some type of like a, what's the word? Kind of like a, when you will, what do you call that? When you'll do something for somebody. But it's like a, God, I can't think of the right word, you guys. I beg your pardon. It's almost like you give something up, like a sacrifice. There we go. So, because she still had to sacrifice every year, she had to live 6 months underground with Pluto, right? Persephone did. And, Pluto was, I mean, in, mythical, he wasn't such a good guy. He was god of the underworld, right? He was keeping everything hidden. He was, kind of sneaking around, sort of. He was very powerful, he was. He only came up because he needed the sun to help, cure an injury. And the sun is very helpful for that. They've already spoken about that, right? So if you have people who are in nursing homes, make sure you are taking them out in the sunlight. Make sure you are doing that. Because those are the people who heal. Yeah. And so, yeah, this is interesting here. Transformation, the need to allow something to die. That's what I meant about a sacrifice. In order to create room for the new. Fear of loss from change. Change always brings, or, perceived change, excuse me, guys. It always brings fear, creating life out of death. All right, so something kind of died here or was given up here, and there is a sacrifice here because she is making the ultimate sacrifice. Persephone is, right? She has to live, 6 grounds for 6 months underneath the earth. Somebody like sacrificed something. Maybe it was a relationship because we have freedom. I'm not sure what's been sacrificed, Capricorn, or kind of left to die, right? So something else can grow, right? So we can't have everything at one time. Sometimes, right? That's just how it is, right? So let's get into it here, Capricorn, and hope you guys are all well. And yeah, if you want to get a psychic reading with me, you can. And I always check my work for accuracy. They are accurate. They're lots of fun. Different formatting. You choose the format, live call, recording, or both. And then the tarot readings are done the same way. And those are very telling for your situation. If you are seeking insight on somebody that you don't understand, get a psychic reading. You get the cards after. I'm not using a tool in the beginning. I'm not, right, when I read. I'm just reading, tapping into my, my psychic ability. And then the tarot cards come after with the combo. And yeah, if you need information, like insight into your own situation, doesn't always have to be, for sure, it can be, doesn't have to be romantic, it can be, career or anything, really. I'm also a life coach, so, very helpful, spiritual life coach, kind of the best of both worlds. That's how I like to put it. Mystic Sense has a free 5-minute psychic reading, and you can get a past life reading with me. And those are really helpful to live your best life. And you could be saying, well, how's that, right? Well, because the past life, which is the south node in your natal chart, is about things that we need to learn from and leave behind. And that can definitely have to do with your past life, and you're choosing it. So send me an email if you really want to understand it. So let's get into this, you guys, but super helpful. At the bottom of the deck, we see the Hermit. And, we see the third eye on this card. So when we see the third eye, somebody could have been in Hermit mode. I feel like somebody in this reading, you or this person, Capricorn, had a powerful realization. And it's a message now to pass on. It is a powerful realization because 42 is a 6. This is powerful realization, a recognition, and a revelation from spirit, from you, right? From you, inward, from your third eye, from you, or this person. That's the part we're not really sure of who's kind of, right? But let's get into it, and let's go ahead and cut this deck. And for Capricorn, we start with the Hierophant. We have the 7 of Pentacles, the 2 of Swords. There could be a marriage that is sacrificed here. But this person, there's a great faith here about you. This person has great faith. And And they could have really suffered here with physical pain and the transformation, which really talks about a sacrifice, right? Especially in this one. We have the Lovers and the Page of Pentacles. So the Lovers can be, it can be a choice. It usually is. It is more often than not about soulmates when we are talking about love readings, because the angel is here blessing them and waking them up, basically. We have the Star, and we have to cover the Star as well, OMG, because she's naked too. And we have Judgment, more naked folks here that we are covering. And we have the Death card, the Ace of Wands, and the Four of Wands. So the intention, or the, the hope in this reading is really to gain stability. It's hard for me to see these cards, right? To put the camera on them because of the glare, kind of. I'm outside today because something's going on inside. So, but you guys can hear the birds singing, huh? Like chirping and things. All right, so in the reading, we have the Death card. We know there's a transformation going on, a profound change. But something is literally dying in this reading, I believe, or has literally died, because we have physical pain and we have freedom. So freedom is, in essence, or in the context of this reading, it can be like just a huge change which frees somebody, which liberates them. They're not, going about their life in the same way, but it may be a physical ending as well that brings upon this freedom. And the freedom is a 17, and this is an 8. So this is about change again. It's about progress. It's good change, of course. Not all change is good, but most change is necessary, good or not. Yeah, and that's what we have to deal with as adults, right? Yeah, we do. And so here we have this, with Persephone and Pluto, which is really interesting because this is another 4, the transformation card, right? It's a 13, and so that is a 4. So this is bringing stability, this profound change, but it brings it kind of like a tower, like something happened in this reading, right? So here we have the Lovers, the Star, the Hierophant, Judgment, and the Death card. So half of the reading is a major it's a major reading, major changes, major. It's not, this is about something profound. Just with the major arcanas here, we start with the Hierophant, and the Two of Swords is here. And so Capricorn, with the 7 of Pentacles in the crossing energy, he's looking at his bush going, I wonder what's going to happen here. The Two of Swords is saying, well, it can be saying, I don't know. But in this reading, it's like, well, things have to change anyway, and I don't really have a choice. So that's why she's kind of, fenced in, sort of, with these swords, at least in her mind and her heart, right? So this is about, in the challenge here, the crossing energy, this is kind of a wondering what's going to happen with this, this huge change. What will it render? What will it bring? And so with the Hierophant here, there could be either a marriage ending, somebody may want to marry you, but this is also, this person may not know, or you may not know, if if somebody may not know here if the other person will believe in them or believe in this. But there's such a huge change here, and some type of a sacrifice, that there's plenty of reason to believe that this can all work out, right? And so that's what, there's a choice already made here with the Lovers here. The choice is about, I'm choosing here. I don't know what's going to happen in the end. Nobody knows about the future, really, right? Unless, you can, if you're doing predictions, sometimes in my readings, I am doing predictions, right? Yeah, and so, and those come true because I get phone calls and feedback and stuff like that, and repeat clients, right? So we have the Knight of Pentacles showing up. Could be a Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn, and we have the High Priestess. All right, so this is also about intuitive insight. There could be, right? We know that we have the third eye on this card over here, but this could be a Pisces or a Scorpio as well. There could be a lot of people here, but there is a lot of major energy as well, right? Because when we have the court cards and the major arcanas, those can be people, right? So far, the Knight of Pentacles is showing up, right? And, he is typically known as generous, the higher energy of this. Let me fix this camera, Capricorn. The higher energy of the Knight of Pentacles. Can't even see if the camera's on the deck, but or the camera's on the cards rather, but because of the glare here, right? But the Knight of Pentacles showing up here, it's usually earnest energy, where somebody comes honest and diligent, even though it's slow energy, right? Because hey, what is it? The slow and steady wins the race, and that's how it is, right? That's the darn truth. And we saw that since we were kids in the cartoon with the rabbit and the hare. I think, who was it? The hare and the turtle, the tortoise and the hare, something like the hare and the turtle. But right, and the turtle won, and he was much slower, but he just stayed on task. And so this is about earnest energy, and somebody's coming here, or they are transforming into somebody very earnest, right? Doesn't have to be that they're necessarily coming. You could be with them now, possibly. And you might see a huge change in this person, Capricorn, if you are indeed with them now. The Lovers is external, and it's with the Four of Swords, and that's mental energy as well. And so here we see somebody praying or meditating or reflecting, right? Because the praying, can definitely represent all three, right? Or one of the other, but they're all similar, right? When you meditate, it is a form of prayer, and prayer is a form of meditation. I believe that's how it is. But here we have this Four of Swords with the Lovers. This person's in reflection. And how do we know? We see the Seven of Pentacles over here. I wonder what's going to happen right here. So they're in reflection about this choice. They may be praying that this will happen. And because we have physical pain here, and we have transformation, which is some type of a sacrifice. There's something really deep going on in this reading, and that is the essence of the transformation, right? Something very deep, right? And that's Scorpio energy, is about intensity and depth. Yeah, it is, and that's a Scorpio card, right? That's why they say Scorpios, people with a lot of Scorpio in their chart, or Scorpio rising, maybe Scorpio sun as well, can be intense or powerful, right? Yeah, and deep, and sometimes complicated because of the depth and the intensity, right? And when anything is very deep, yeah, we can be complicated, right? Yeah, and so we have the Page of Pentacles, and that's how they're seeing themselves. And this is bringing you, Capricorn, some type of new beginning or a new start. But they see themselves as there's a value, there's major value, and it sounds like you're going to the store, right? Value, but when somebody sees your worth, isn't that the most important thing, right? Because that's what value is about. Yeah, it sounds like you're going to I don't know, some type of store where, hey, there's more value over here, more bang for your buck, or stuff like that. So we have the Star showing up, and this is in the past. We'll get a card. This is hope and healing. It's inspiration and faith with the Nine of Wands. So that's what, this wounded warrior, somebody who was who got hurt, that's the person who made some type of a sacrifice. He has a bandage on his head, and he said, help, Capricorn, help me out here, right? Give me some of that earthly strength that you have. So here we have this, Nine of Wands, but this is really ultimately it's about resilience and having faith and hope in the situation. And here we have Judgment sitting right next to this faith and hope. They could be hoping you will give them a second chance. That's not clear, but something deep went down here because of the physical pain, the transformation, and a message to pass on, and which is really a powerful realization, in my opinion. And the High Priestess can talk about a powerful realization because it is intuitive insight. Yes, it is, definitely. And so especially showing up in this crossing energy, somebody understood something very intuitively. They could have had an awakening, because here is, Judgment can talk about an awakening. It can talk about being kind of on your own chopping block where you have an awakening and you are kind of at the forefront of judging yourself, not necessarily in any bad way, judging yourself, assessing yourself, and about maybe past behavior. Judgment is also about the past because because we see the dead people, right? And next to the death card. So this is somebody who really kind of takes a look at themselves and the way they were behaving in the past, or the way they were understanding you or understanding themselves. But ultimately, the pain brings in this insight, this awakening, this powerful realization, and this huge change in somebody's life. And it liberates them, and that's what this freedom card can be about. Somebody may have physical freedom in the reading as well. They may. So we have the death card in the environment. This is the psyche typically. It could be the physical environment. Something ends in order to make way for this happily ever after. And this person believes that you are their happily ever after, Capricorn. Yes, they do. And so, or you believe that, or you both believe it. Yeah, and down here we have the Ace of Wands in the hopes and fears. So this is kind of, the major message in this reading. I really hope I can have a passionate situation with Capricorn. And there's so much inspiration and faith in this reading, the star and the Hierophant. The star is directly vertical to the Hierophant. Yeah, and so, yeah, let's get a card on the Ace of Wands. And we have it with the Tower. Yeah, and I talked about the Tower earlier. So the Tower is a major part of this reading. It is. And so this is, there's a big change here. That's what's happening. So this is like my hopes, this person, the hopes and fears here can be, well, if I've let something come crashing down and ended something. The Tower always brings an ending to the way you think, an ending to the way you live, an ending possibly to a relationship, a career, whatever, a job, whatever. But it brings a definite ending. I hope I can have something passionate and inspiring, especially like inspiring. But this, there's passion in this reading. Of course there is, but because of this Ace of Wands, but with this star here, right, and this faith over here with the Hierophant, there's something so inspiring in this reading. And the inspiration creates the way for change and profound change. The Tower comes in this reading and kicks somebody in the ass and takes them away, like the universe, from whatever they're doing. And when they are taken away, kind of kicked off their high mountain, could be, they don't have to be arrogant or anything like that, but kind of kicked out of their little comfort zone, they go, whoa, I've changed, I'm changing. Something's ending here for me majorly, whether or not that is physical or psychological or both. In this reading, I feel like it's both. And so now I've changed. I'll never be the same again. And I want this passionate new opportunity. This is somebody who realizes they can have something very beautiful if they accept an ending about themselves, if they accept something about themselves and move forward. And that has to do with this Pluto and Persephone, which is some type of a sacrifice. Somebody could have sacrificed something in this reading. Could be physical. We have the Pentacles sitting in the crossing energy. Could be something very physical there. And they have sacrificed that. And they are saying, well, it's kind of a tough thing to go through, but, right, physical pain, but it's worth it in the end. In the long run, it's worth it. Whoever this is definitely not being short-sighted, because that can, so, Capricorn, you usually don't have to deal with short-sightedness so much, because you guys are about the long-term goals, things that are serious, projects, even maturity and, discipline and things like that. That is Capricorn in its highest self, right? Authority and ambition and achievement. But, every sign has a lower self, and when we rush into things, we can become short-sighted, and we can really lose the whole target, right? We can really lose out when we do that, right? So we have, and here we have the Four of Wands sitting in the potential outcome. And that's what this reading is about. It is about creating some type of security and happiness, not necessarily financial security. No, not necessarily. It can be, because the Six of Coins talks about sharing, and he's giving her this, this big pentacle. This could be somebody this could be somebody or you who has some financial stability, and that's even going to kind of put more icing on the cake, right? We have the Ten of Wands here. Yeah, somebody may have been married maybe, and that's what needs to end here. But the interesting thing about this reading is that somebody realizes that the real stability is from within. with this profound change and transformation and this intuitive insight, the message to pass on, which is a message of spirit, is psychic insight, or it can be intuitive insight, or some intuitive wisdom, where somebody really understands here what their life is about and how much you mean to them, most likely Capricorn. If this is simply about you, you're definitely figuring out your career moving forward, right? Usually these are love, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. You could have changed your mind over here about something, or made a choice and went through some big, hard kind of ending, and you're sacrificing something, and moving forward is it's a little scary, a little bit, but you're going to be okay. This reading is about triumph. It is. It's about winning, and it's about winning from somebody honestly knowing thyself. That's really the root of this. And the ending and the transformation is all supporting that, but it's really about somebody growing and really understanding, knowing thyself. That's what it is. Thanks so much for joining me here, you guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. It helps me to keep these readings coming forward. It really does, with the YouTube algorithm. And hit the little bell if you want to receive, my notifications. And get a psychic reading, Capricorn. Lots of fun. It is an experience. It can be really helpful. It can too. Whatever you're kind of mulling over, or you don't have, you don't have clarity on. Thanks so much, guys.